Hey guys, what's going on? This is Overloaded. It's good to be talking to you guys again. It has been a long time, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute. I haven't put out any videos for quite a while, and that's because I kind of had to take a step back and look at my reasoning for why I was still doing this on YouTube, and if it was still for the right reasons. I originally got into this because I wanted to be more of a part of the gaming community and just have fun with it. And lately, I had been not necessarily doing it for the right reasons. I had been spending too much time focusing on YouTube at my job, and it was costing me money at my job, and that's never a good thing. You can't pay the bills if you're not making money. Can't put food on the table. It's not a place for that kind of thing. And so I took a step back for a while, and I decided I was just gonna stop and do what I wanted to do, and that was, as you can see, play Forza 3. And this is one of my favorite games right now, but I'll get to that later on. I didn't I didn't think I was doing this for the right reasons anymore, and as I'm sure some of you know who follow Machinima as well, the whole Billionaire Challenge scandal that just went down with, apparently they were gonna, it turned out to be a joke, but from what I understand at the time they were doing this live stream, this billionaire guy made a comment that he was gonna pay somebody in like Ukraine, I believe, to live stream his assisted suicide. He was terminally ill, and it all turned out to be a joke, but at the time he said this, none of the big YouTuber guys that were there said anything like, whoa, hold on, that's not right. We shouldn't be doing this. And people have been catching a lot of flack for that, and that just made me question my reasoning for doing this even more. I have a full-time job. I have 2 kids and a wife, and this is just a hobby, and shouldn't be anything more than that. This shouldn't be some kind of substitute for my income at my job. My job is very dependent on how hard I work. Directly, what I do, I get paid. Basically, it's called flat rate, and it means I get paid by the job, and there's a certain time assigned to that job, and it doesn't matter how long that job takes me. That time slot that job pays is what it pays, period. Real quick, this car that I'm driving, that's a Lamborghini Miura Concept. It's a 2006 concept car that Lamborghini produced as a remake of their original Miura race car that they made, and the original was just an absolute balls out street driven race car. It was barely, it really shouldn't have been sold, but it was a beast on wheels, and this, I think, recaptures that very well. I love this particular car. It's one of the most beautiful cars in the game, in my opinion. I love the sound of the engine. The engine just sounds, it's like sex in my ears. It's just wonderfulness. I love it. But anyways, so getting back to that, I decided I wasn't doing this for the right reasons anymore, and I just stopped. I was putting out total minor videos, honestly, just surely for views, and I think that that's the wrong reason. If that's why you're doing this, then I don't think in the long term you're going to be very successful. I think that it's going to come back to you, and I decided that I needed to take a little break and go back to my roots, and here we are. This is my roots. I love racing simulator games. Since the original PlayStation, I got hooked on Gran Turismo, and that was the point at which I had my first real hardcore gaming experience. So I just actually sat down and played a game for hours and hours and hours on end. Was with a racing simulator, and PlayStation 3 came out, and Forza 5 was, not Forza, Gran Turismo 5 was supposed to be released, and that didn't come forever and a day, so I got an Xbox instead, because all my friends had Xboxes, and I was a huge Halo fan. So that left me with Forza, and that's what I've picked up since Forza 2, and I've been loving it. I love racing simulators. This is my escape. This is where I go to just kind of get away from the world for a little while. I can go and jump into a car that I'll probably never be able to afford or drive and just go and beat the ever-loving crap out of it, just completely romp on it on a racetrack and just kind of just escape to my own little place. And I love that. It's very relaxing to me. And for anybody that's curious, I don't have a racing wheel. It's something that I just can't afford right now. It's not on the budget for us. And I got a lot of other priorities with 2 kids. We've got to put them through college and all that fancy jazz. So racing wheel is just not something that's in the cards for me right now. I just use a regular old controller, thumbsticks, and it's not the easiest thing to pilot a car when, especially like the R1 class cars. You're driving along, and when you're using thumbsticks, it's very, very twitchy to drive an R1 car. And but I've always used thumbsticks since my original PlayStation days. But so yeah, this is kind of like my dirty little secret, I guess. I play racing simulators forever and a day. You know, none of my friends play Forza or Gran Turismo. I don't know anybody that's real active in it, and it's just kind of something, I guess it feels like my dirty little secret that I play Forza. But I love this game. I love it. I love racing simulators. This is just, more than anything else, this is my favorite thing. More than Call of Duty, anything else, this is #1. But so yeah, so I'm still going to be doing my Fortress Craft videos. I've got my Fortress Craft Machinima movie that I'm working on, which I ran into a little bit of a roadblock. I'm going to talk about that later. But I want to tell another quick story. Some of you may know, about a month ago I went on vacation with my family. We decided to drive out to Arizona, where my wife's father and stepmother, that's where they live. And it's a little bit of a backstory. My wife and all of her family is just full-blooded, born and raised Filipino. She moved to the United States in 2001, and I guess her parents divorced at a very young age. Her mother moved to France, her father moved to the United States, and she was basically raised by her grandmother and her grandfather. And her grandmother died in 2001, and she really didn't have a caretaker at that point. And she moved to the United States after that. And she was living with her father for a little while. And if you guys know anything about the Filipino, traditions, it's I won't get into too much to that. But anyways, her father didn't like her being out too late, even though she was already a grown woman, and it just kind of turned this whole thing. And she ended up moving in with me. And long story short, we ended up with 2 kids, and now we're married, and blah, 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 blah. So we're in Arizona visiting her family again after several years of not seeing them. And from where we are, it's about a day or a day and a half driving to get there, with an 8-hour stopover, and just stops for gas and at the rest areas just for breaks and whatnot. So, and that's driving my minivan, which minivans are not fun to drive. And so we got there in Arizona, and while we were there, they suggested, hey, why don't we go drop by and visit, Cyrene's aunts and uncles real quick. They live over in California. It's just a couple hours. And I said, oh, just a couple hours? Oh, yeah. And that's where the whole language barrier problem came into play, because what they meant was California was a couple hours away, and the aunts and uncles were about another 6 hours into California after that, so that's another 8 hours of driving. And what this essentially equated to was my week-long vacation turned into driving a minivan non-stop. It was hell on wheels. I freaking hated it. I was so mad at Cyrene for not telling me that it was going to be that far. If I knew what I was getting into, if I wanted to go to California to, visit her aunts and uncles on vacation, we probably would have just gotten plane tickets. It would have been way easier, but, taking a road trip that long with kids, my 3-year-old daughter and my 1-year-old son is just not fun. But, so anyway, guys, thanks for watching.